Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Maria Cozette Show, where the left brain meets the right. I have a fantastic guest today, an accomplished attorney and talented musician, so stay tuned for that. And of course, for any further information about the show, you can always visit mariacozette.com/television. Stay with us. My guest today is an accomplished attorney and musician, Shiraz Simonian. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to my show. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. So we are going to talk about great things, your creative side, but before we get to that, let's discuss your educational journey and professional journey in practicing law.
Sure, yeah. So I went to USC for undergrad.
Fight on.
And then I majored in political science and did a minor in psychology. And I always kind of wanted to go to law school. I always kind of knew that. So after I graduated, I applied to a bunch of law schools, and then I decided to go to Pepperdine.
Nice.
Can't beat the campus.
Right.
So
it's beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very tough to study there. So I went to law school, and then during law school, I was encouraged by one of my corporation teachers actually to enroll in the business school too, because they were creating a JD MBA program there.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
I enrolled and I got in, and so I did an additional year and got my JD and MBA.
Wow, I
after
did
4
not
years.
know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Shiraz.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting that you did a minor in psychology as well. Probably came in handy practicing law.
I think it's very useful in practicing law. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're lucky enough to practice law with your brother. So tell me about your firm.
Sure. So I practiced in different firms for quite some time, and then back in 2014, I kind of decided the law firm was enough for me, and I started my own practice in Glendale called Simonian and Simonian.
Yes.
And my brother joined about 2 years after that. And my primary focus at Simonian & Simonian is to I do employment law.
Okay.
So I mostly represent employees. I do represent some employers as well, and I also do personal injury. But my primary practice is employment law.
I see. And so we're going to talk about actually the fact that you're a musician. How has that kind of woven into you practicing law? But before I do that, I want to find out, where did your passion for music come from? Did you take lessons, or is this something that developed later in life?
Well, ever since I can remember being a kid, I've always kind of been interested in music. It's always kind of been in my life somehow in one form or another.
Right.
I remember in grade school I think it was a birthday or maybe Christmas, one of my friends gave me like a Guns N' Roses CD.
Oh, nice.
It might have been a tape actually back then, so I don't remember. But that really kind of got me into the whole rock thing. And then I took piano lessons. My parents were very adamant about taking piano lessons, and I hated it at the time. And then that was kind of like early 90s when the whole, grunge movement was coming along. So I was like, well, I don't want to play piano, I want to play guitar.
Right.
And then I finally convinced my parents to get me like this, guitar, and I haven't put it down since.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Sometimes kids are very reluctant. Just as you said, you didn't like piano. One of my greatest regrets is quitting piano. But then you learn to appreciate that. And then I'm sure now that you're a father, you'll want your child to have that creative outlet, or at least give them the tools to decide whether or not they want to pursue it. You know?
At least let them have the option.
Yeah, it opens the door,
Absolutely.
To the music world.
Absolutely.
And so how have you found your music nurturing, your career in one way or another, whether it's, so you're a trial attorney, and have you found any parallels between essentially performing in court and then playing music?
Well, I think playing music, it takes a lot of focus. It also takes a lot of practice. You have to kind of dedicate a lot of time to it, whether it's a hobby or a craft, obviously.
Right.
So as far as practicing law, I think, those kind of apply in the courtroom as well, because, you got to dedicate a lot of time to it. You have to practice. It's the first time I was in the courtroom, I made a lot of mistakes. the first
That's
couple of years
normal.
I picked up my instrument, I made a lot of mistakes
Yeah.
too, So it's just, practice makes perfect. You kind of try to perfect your craft over time.
Yeah. And then do you find that it maybe, helps you in some way? Does it alleviate stress? Because we all know that practicing law is a very stressful profession. I know this from my friends, my brother-in-law. And so, do you use it as an actual, creative outlet? And how often or?
Sure, yeah. I mean, practicing law is very stressful.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of playing music to me is what going to the gym is for a lot of people, or meditation is
Right.
for a lot of people, or yoga. So when I'm at work all day and I come home, sometimes I'll pick up the guitar and I'll play, and it'll just relieve any and all stress for that day. I'll just forget about everything and just kind of get lost in the music.
Yeah, and the world kind of seems right maybe in that
Absolutely.
moment.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. I'm happy you have that. And we have a lot more to talk about with Shiraz Simonian. Stay with us. We're back and you are watching The Maria Cozette Show. My guest is attorney and musician Shiraz Simonian. So Shiraz, as a successful attorney, you have been chosen for 3 years now, recognized in the prestigious Rising Stars list in Super Lawyers magazine. And so as a successful attorney, do you think it's important for professionals to have a creative outlet and to have this other side to them aside from their, everyday career?
I mean, I think so. And that creativity can come in so many different ways. But it is an outlet, and I think that's very important for any professional to have, because kind of focusing too much on your professional career over time becomes a little redundant, a little, at least from my perspective, a little boring,
Right.
So it's kind of nice to go out there and explore any other creative outlets you might have. And that, like I said, comes in a lot of forms. I mean, I have friends who paint, for example, who are professionals and paint on the side. So yeah, I think it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And so who are your favorite artists? And so I know that you like rock for sure, and you're going to perform for us in a little bit. But who are your favorite artists, favorite genres, either to play or listen to?
It's a very long list, but I'll try to shorten it up a little bit. Well, I mean, I listen to different types of music, but mostly rock, like you said. And within rock, there are obviously different genres.
Right.
So, I like a lot of classic rock. I mean, if I would have to pick a favorite artist or band, I guess
I
it
know
would.
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, but it would be Pink Floyd. I mean, for me, Pink
Oh,
Floyd
yes.
has always been kind of like my go-to band that I've listened to,
Yeah.
and over time, it's kind of helped me out in a lot of ways. And so Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. As far as modern rock goes, I like bands like Tool, Nine Inch Nails.
Yes.
I like bands that kind of make you think lyrically and musically. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I look for.
Yeah, and speaking of look for, are there particular elements of music that you seem to notice more? Probably the guitar?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of listen to all instruments when I'm listening to music.
Okay,
Yeah,
because why I asked that question, by the way, is because I've noticed that musicians, and then, for example, me as a singer, I listen to particular elements in the production, and I feel like people that are more musically inclined listen to music differently, and I don't want that to come off weird to anybody watching, because everyone's style, taste, and everything in music is fully respected, and it's very subjective, but I feel like musicians listen to music a little differently. So I'm wondering, what do you listen to? Are there particular things you're picking out in there?
And that's not, I totally understand that question, by
Yeah.
the way. So, I mean, what I try to generally do is I kind of focus on the bass and the drums at first, because they kind of make the rhythm backbone to any song that I usually listen to.
Right.
And then kind of listen to the layers that get added on, whether that's guitar or any other instrument, and then vocals, So I kind of listen to music in layers.
Right. Yeah, because you're observing the entire production coming together. Absolutely, and you let it take you away. Do you attend concerts often?
Yeah, my wife and I would go to concerts at least maybe once a month, and then now we have a baby at home, so we're gonna take a little break from that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Do you play for your baby?
I do. I try to
That's so
serenade
important.
him. I think he likes it.
Of course he does.
I think he's enjoying it when I'm playing.
Yeah, and these are the most impressionable years. I think sometimes it's a common misconception. People think that, oh, they're a baby, they don't get it. But actually, it's the developmental years and very impressionable. So every single note that you're playing is making some sort of impact.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe he'll grow up to be like the greatest guitar player ever.
You never know.
Exactly. So speaking of you performing, you're going to perform for us. So what is it you're going to play?
I'm going to play Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits.
Nice, I love it.
Which is one of my favorite songs. So.
Perfect. So stay tuned because Shiraz will be performing for us.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. Well, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain, they hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places, but the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south, way on down south, London town. Check out Guitar George, he knows all the chords. But it's strictly rhythm, he doesn't wanna make it cry or sing. If any old guitar is all he can afford, when he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky tonk like anything, saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing. And a crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner, drunk and dressed in their best brown baggies in their platform soles. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll. And the Sultans, yeah, the Sultans play Creole. Creole. Sultans. We are the Sultans of Swing.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You definitely shred on the guitar.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Maria.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you, and stay tuned for more of the Maria Cozette Show. Know the Greats, where we spotlight a legend. And the next leader is an absolute legend in her own right. Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama is an American lawyer, university administrator, and writer who was the First Lady of the United States from 2009 to 2017. She became a role model and advocate through her four main initiatives. She grew up in South Side Chicago, attending public schools, and later went on to study sociology and African American studies at Princeton University. After graduating the very prestigious Harvard Law School, she joined the Chicago law firm Sidley & Austin, where she met Barack Obama. She served as Assistant Commissioner of Planning and Development in Chicago's City Hall, before becoming the founding executive director of the Chicago chapter of Public Allies, an AmeriCorps program that prepares youth for public service. As First Lady, Mrs. Obama worked on the issues close to heart, supporting military families, helping children lead healthier lives, and encouraging all our young people to fulfill their boundless promise. One in 9 people lack access to an improved water source. The majority of water sources in developing countries are unimproved. Families and schools typically dig pits, which then fill naturally via rain or groundwater. These methods are all subject to contamination. Many of these sources are shared with animals from the local area and also used for bathing. People go miles just to fetch water every day. In fact, women spend over 200 million man-hours daily collecting water. Just $1 provides a person clean water for an entire year. Imagine that. Every 21 seconds, a child will perish from a preventable waterborne illness. Fixing the problem is rather easy. We just all need to make a concerted effort and commit to a solution. With the support of partners and donors, Love Water has been able to provide over 61 communities, 6 schools, and a health clinic access to clean water through a major water source project. They have provided 640 families biosand filters directly in their homes. To find out more about this incredible organization and donate any amount, visit lovewater.org. That's a wrap for the Maria Cozette Show. I really want to sincerely thank all of you for the incredible feedback and messages I've been receiving online. Team Cozette works tirelessly to update content on Facebook and Instagram, so be sure to like and follow us. And of course, much love to my guest today, Shiraz Simonian. Thank you for sharing your talents with us. And well, I'll see you guys next time. Just remember to stay creative.